Y'all don't live in the real world. There's a reason I don't sleep. There's a reason that I want my life to end every single day. Those of you who don't have to go through this, telling me what to do, telling me how to think and how to feel, but you don't have to go through it. You don't know what it's like to be abused nonstop for 4 years. I've been abused my whole life, but this is fucking horse shit. This fucking apartment doesn't mean shit to me. It's a goddamn mailbox. I lived here before. Cindy, the lady that runs the place, she also runs Sydney. Sydney was on the news recently. Why? Because of Cindy. A 90-year-old man had to stay in his vehicle for months. He couldn't stay in his low-income apartment. He had to live in his vehicle. I don't have any friends here. I don't have positivity here. I have people who tell me how to think and how to feel. That's not the same thing. Last night I was down at the bar. I got to shake my patootie like a Polaroid picture. Yeah, it hurts my back. Yeah, it hurts my legs. But you know what? We were having a good time, and it was worth the pain to have just a few moments of meanwhile, drunk people, they hurt people more than anyone else I know. No remorse about it whatsoever. They just do it. Drunk people in a room full of other drunk people, all of them just screaming over each other, waiting for their chance to talk. They're not hearing a word the other person's saying. They're just glad that somebody smiles and laughs and nods their head. That's fucking pathetic. But then when them alcoholics are around people that aren't drunk, it's a different story. Those people aren't as tolerant of the drunk. And in some cases, they're actually more tolerant because it's family. Somehow, America has become this disease that just preys on the poor. Right now, the decisions that Donald Trump's making, thousands of people in every single state are going to be homeless. Thousands already are. I always tell you all about the conservative numbers, about how there's supposedly 430 something thousand people who are homeless on the streets on any given night. Now I'm going to do some math here. How many people are in the United States prison system? The American criminal justice system holds almost 2.3 million people in 1,833 state prisons, 110 federal prisons, 1,772 juvenile correctional facilities, 3,134 local jails, 218 immigration detention facilities, and 80 Indian country jails, as well as in military prisons, civil commitment centers, of course, state psychiatric facilities. 2.3 million people. Now let's see what 81% of, see, make sure I get that number right, 2.3 million. 2,300,000. That's 81% of the prison population, or 81% of the incarcerated population, sorry. The prison system includes a lot of different facilities. 81% of those people are homeless. Now they say in the conservative numbers that there's only 400 and something thousand homeless people. Of course, you've got 1,863,000 homeless people in the US prison system. 1,863,000. That's a lot of people. They're not technically homeless because they're incarcerated. Now the police and the courts try to doctor these numbers as best they can by using our last previous address. Lovely. Or just writing down a local address and saying that you live there. Even if you don't. But it's fine. I want someone to blow my head off. That is what I want. What I needed was for people to speak out, and they just didn't. They didn't try very fucking hard. Now, all these people had to do was tell the truth. If they'd have just come forward and told the truth, I wouldn't have had to record our phone calls to show the truth. I gave Maddie Boa all the time in the world. I gave Miss Peaches all the time in the world. The whole time, all it would have taken was just one of these fucking cowards to speak up. But they didn't. They didn't even try. They claimed to. And for 7 months after Natalie was killed, I was forced into homelessness, by the way, because Natalie was killed. Her killer is sitting in prison right now. I do feel responsible for Natalie's death, but not just hers. I feel personally responsible for Tiber Hatay's death because I couldn't get anyone to listen. When I spoke out about them injecting those drugs into me, refusing to allow me to call the police, keeping me longer than they should have, but they wanted the money. That's Clearview Behavioral Health for you. By the way, that's only one of many reasons I can't go to the state of Colorado. All of them having to do with Natalie Bollinger and how the police all over the United States botched that fucking case. How police in Boulder, Colorado were able to manipulate the system as they are trained to do and torture me and charge me with crimes as if I was the one who had been assaulting people. No, that was Officer Waylon Lolatai. Waylon Lolatai. Now, what's he famous for? Now, first thing I'm going to do, copy this link address from Clearview. This right here. Tell you a little bit about Clearview. All right, next one. Now, the lady who's talking in here, this nurse lady, she's kind of hefty set. You can see her in the video with myself and those shitty ass goddamn staff members. That woman's in there laughing her ass off, laughing about what they had just done to me. When I hear a black person say these officers laughed at me while they were doing this, I wholeheartedly do believe that. Those officers were laughing their ass off when they killed Demetrius Shanklin too. If I could have gotten the cops to actually do their fucking jobs, a lot of people would still be alive, including Demetrius Shanklin. These laws that all y'all are trying to fight for, and so on and so forth, that just now they're starting to do something about. If you'd have given a shit when they did it to me, a lot of black lives would still be here. What they did to me at Clearview that killed Tibor Hatay, they killed Tony Timpa, they killed Elijah McClain. Yeah, I get that Tony was killed before the Natalie situation. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that that death could not have been prevented by listening to me. Although I've been speaking out about this for decades, so truly it actually could have. I got evidence of police misconduct and police abuse across the country. Documentation from the victims about their predators. Elizabeth Athenu typed, the evolution of the society is reflected in the way it treats its most vulnerable citizens. Yes, ma'am. I've heard that stated several different ways. It's actually a famous quote by several famous people. There's a guy on my Facebook. Right before Natalie was killed, there were two people I was trying to help find. One of them was the daughter of Shauna Sinclair. The other one was the son of Mandy Singer. I just realized what he typed is too incredibly long to put here. We'll see if instead of going to Facebook, I'll see if I have it on YouTube. I have a YouTube video. I just Sorry about that. I'm sick to my stomach all the time. You know what that's from? It's from not seeing any of my loved ones, from not having that positivity in my life, from knowing that I can't go to the police for help no matter what. I even recorded police officers saying the things that I've been telling y'all about. Officer Holloway admitted in that video that's recorded that I needed someone to go in with me. Meanwhile, when I told people I needed them to go in with me or it wouldn't do anything fucking good, like, oh no, Sean, you got to do it yourself. I'm telling you this from experience, and you're fucking talking down to me, being condescending. Holy shit. I suppose I should go to my channel to try to find it. Oh, I didn't figure so. I didn't save it under its name. I saved it under the topic I was talking about. That might be Martin me more. Um, well, this one definitely isn't it because it's only about 5 minutes long. It's called First They Came, Martin Me More. He's famous, by the way. Now that we got that shit out of the way, I really should try to stick to the evidence, shouldn't I? So we'll go to Whale and Lolatai. Now, mind you, this Clearview thing, this is after I spoke out about Clearview. Clearview did the things that they did to me because the police asked them to. I was not treated like a human being. I was treated like a paycheck. I was treated like an animal that didn't mean nothing. Like I was a Dalmatian you were breeding to try to make some money. This is Whale and Lolatai border. By the way, the jurisdiction where Demetrius Shankling was killed. I also had to deal with them after Natalie's death. I had to deal with a lot of different departments. They all kept telling me different things. Oh, we're not allowed to investigate ourselves. You got to call another department. Oh, well, you can't call us. You have to call their superiors. Oh, well, you're not supposed to call us. We're not allowed to investigate ourselves. So you need to call these people. So if these people tell you, you got to call those people. So you got to call those people and those people and those people. These people are all blowing me down. Like they big bad wolves, and I'm a little straw house. Well, I'm told that I can't be a victim because of the color of my skin. Told that I must be guilty because of the way that I look. Treated like I must be the bad guy and everything must be about sex because I was born with a penis. All this stuff that you're not allowed to discriminate against someone for hiring practices. You can discriminate against the homeless people for all that. You can discriminate against any disabled person that you want, provided no one's going to fight for their rights. The best way to find those people is go out on the streets. That's what happens when you're disabled and nobody gives a fuck. When you need help, because your abilities prevent you from doing those things for yourself. But you don't get that help. You get victimized instead. Told you wanted this, needed it, chose it, or deserved it, or it didn't happen. Elizabeth Athno typed, and when they came for me, there was no one left to speak. That's right, that's Martin Niemöller. She also typed, unfortunately, people who have authority that are unchecked tend to get very intoxicated on abuse. That's right, they do. Natalie Marie Bollinger was able to convince me to go to Virginia by threatening to kill herself if I wasn't already on the road, and then slamming her fucking car into a telephone pole. A lot of the people who did me wrong, they tell me about how they ended up getting theirs. Big difference between their situations and mine. They were guilty. But the charges were dropped for them, especially the women. Dropped. The easiest way to get away with a crime is to have a vagina, and I do mean that. If you're a man, you don't have to commit a crime. Your guilt is automatically assumed. With Ray and Ingersoll, if those police actually gave a shit, they could honestly go pick her up today. And by the way, the sentence for what she did in the state of Wyoming, not with those kids, but with me, it's got a pretty lengthy maximum sentence. Because it's not just against the law, it's also compounded because I am disabled. The Americans with Disabilities Act should have applied to me from the very start to allow me to have a voice. That's the thing, is that you can do anything you want to the disabled as long as they don't have anyone who cares. If they don't care enough to speak up, they don't understand how it works. I never should have had to break the law to try to get the police to do their jobs. What Natalie Marie Bollinger and her family and friends have done to me, there's no consequences for them. Natalie's death, that wasn't a consequence for them. That was a free fucking meal ticket. That was free fucking sympathy for a bunch of junkies who spent their life abusing her. Natalie Bollinger was my best friend because we had a lot in common. And what was the lie that she told? That I stalked her. Meanwhile, I posted up the proof that that's not the case. But you don't want to see that, do you? It doesn't fit your hate. It doesn't fit your bias. I need help in person. I don't want it. I need it. There's a big fucking difference. You really think I wanted to make thousands of phone calls? Thousands of phone calls. This is how you are treated when you are deemed mentally ill. At this point, I've made enough phone calls to enough places that at some point in the last 4 goddamn years, someone should have stopped and taken the time to fucking investigate. Having to go to the Chapel Police Department, you're asking me to go to my predators for help. People who neglected an abused, disabled person. These officers did not do their jobs. And they didn't have to. They know all they got to do is call me mentally ill. Oh man, it's fucking Schwartz again. God, I wish that guy would just leave us alone. Well, then do your fucking job. You are paid to do your fucking job, not to abuse the disabled. Elizabeth Athenow typed, not, you were her best friend. She was not a friend at all. She was my friend. She rescued me. She rescued me from the Boulder Police Department and their brutality towards the homeless. That situation was Aid Atkinson. I dealt with worse than that every single day for about 6 months. Y'all don't even know. And then you see the homeless out there, and you see the police out there surrounding them, and you go, oh, that homeless person must have done something wrong. Automatically in your head, you assume that homeless person did something wrong. I got a lot of dead friends because of that. Amy, after that whole situation there in Wyoming with her kids, where she accused me of, doing things that I didn't do. She has since apologized for that, sort of. One night I thought her boyfriend was trying to beat her to death because she was screaming for help. I went over there and I helped her. Despite what she had done, I still went and helped her. With Desiree, when she stole all that stuff out of my apartment, I had rescued her from a trap house, and she thanked me by stealing my things. And you know what? I still went back and rescued her again. People are more important than things. Natalie Bollinger's life was worth so much more. Selena Not Afraid's life too. And her little sister, Zoe. A lot of us are dealing with a lot of rotten shit. When Alicia disappeared 3 different times since her twin sister died, I got the word out. Bobby asked me to get the word out, and that's what I did. Find her, get her safe. Despite the things that she did to me. With Amy and Andrew Witcher, when Amy needed help with the kids because she kicked Andrew out, and she didn't have anyone else to turn to. I was in Washington State. She's in Sydney, Nebraska. That's not a small drive. That's not a short drive. But, after what they did to me when she asked for my help, goddamn right, I got all the way to, well, almost all the way there before she called me and let me know that, holy fuck, that's a fucked up situation too, isn't it? Rihanna, she admitted that I didn't commit the crimes that I pled guilty to in Wyoming. I had to plead guilty. I didn't have the money to go back. The only reason I was even able to go to court to begin with was because Brandon Ratner spent his hard-earned money to make sure I got there. And why was it so important to get there? This computer was in their evidence locker. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it to, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like an infinity mirror. Oh, screw it. A lot of women are taught that they can manipulate people and get away with it. It's all right because you're a female. It's not all right. It's not all right to destroy another human being's life like that. I need someone to speak up for me. I'm not allowed to because I was called mentally ill. So they pretend that I'm too crazy to know what the fuck is going on. Use that as their excuse not to look at any evidence. They use my disabilities as an excuse to ignore my intelligence. And then they use my intelligence as an excuse to ignore my disabilities and my rights under the Americans with Disabilities Act. But nobody cares. Nobody is fighting for me the way they fought for Zaid Atkinson, who, by the way, is a racist. Yes, black people can be racists. If you want to pretend that you were victimized for the color of your skin, yeah, you're racist. If you were actually victimized for the color of your skin, I can understand that. If the police assaulted you and are calling you the N-word while they're beating you in the head with their clubs, yeah, that's a race issue and a police brutality issue. However, most of the time that's not the case. Most of the black people killed by police last year were homeless, were disabled. Most of the white people killed by police last year were homeless, were disabled. There's only one community in the entire United States where you don't find that statistic, and that's with Native Americans. Americans are shot for fucking fun. Native Americans are seriously killed by police for fun. Selena not afraid. Her sister Zoe was 11 when she committed suicide in Hardin, Montana. Her brother Preston was shot to death by police. Her sister was run over at the airport a year before Selena was killed. Selena Not Afraid was not killed on accident. She was murdered by exposure. Imagine being the family to lose 4 kids that way. The disabled and the homeless cannot defend themselves. They're not allowed. Your bias will not allow it. And as long as your bias is what it is, people can continue to victimize the homeless and the disabled and do it for profit. Those numbers we went over at the beginning of the video. Let's take a look at just one of those places. How much does Arapahoe County Jail in Colorado charge per inmate per day? Let's see if it'll come up with an answer. Inmate charges and bonds. Inmate visitation. This is not the stuff I'm looking for. It costs $8.99 for people to visit remotely for 30 minutes with an inmate. You know, Alyssa Rainwater spent $8.99 to come talk to me in the Arapahoe County Jail when nobody else cared. When nobody else kept their fucking word. Please help me to have a voice so I can stop this victimization, or kill me to stop this victimization. I just want my pain to end. When my older brother didn't give a shit about me through any of this, and he showed it, showed that his drugs were more important than me. And he didn't give a fuck what anybody did to me. He put a bullet in my head right there. My little sister did that too. She put a bullet in me right there. But Mandy Hughes didn't come forward like she promised that she would. And Miss Peaches and Miss Mandy didn't actually go in with me like they said that they would with the police. Getting stabbed in the back by Candace Bondurant because she was intimidated by police. Having to go to people who I got rid of, I got them out of my life for a reason. There is a reason the Atlanta Engeline and Jerry Sparks and Amanda Engeline and that whole lot. There's a reason that they were out of my life for over a whole year before Natalie was killed. It's because of things that they had done. And they did them again. Those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. At no point in time was I ever allowed to speak up on my own behalf. At no point in time was I ever allowed to show evidence. At no point in time has any investigator done a goddamn thing. Fuck the police. I spent my whole life speaking up for others and myself for a reason. I'm not going to ignore the other victims. I never have. I'm not going to pretend that they don't exist. I'm not going to pretend that these things don't happen to Black people or Native Americans. I'm not going to pretend they're not happening to the homeless. If I'm going to stick up for these people's rights, like I stuck up for Natalie's rights and many others, I'm not entitled to those rights that y'all upper middle class folk have. You notice I didn't say upper middle class white folks. It's because it doesn't matter what fucking color your skin is. It's the content of your goddamn character that counts. Please kill me.